This podcast is Intel enhanced. To see pictures, articles, and links of what's being discussed, download the Intel app.
Hello, welcome to the Big Scuba Show.
Hey guys, my name is Chef Anton. I'm here with Ian and Gemma on the Big Scuba podcast. And today we're going to be talking about doing magic underwater and how it can help you. It will be very different podcast than you're normally used to hearing.
Welcome back to the Big Scuba podcast. We are your hosts, Gemma and Ian. Before we get cracking with today's episode, we just want to make sure you have hit that follow button or the subscribe button, depending on what platform you are listening on. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts and you enjoy what you're going to hear today, we would really appreciate it if you can leave a review and a 5-star rating. So now that's out of the way, we just want to say welcome and thank you for all tuning in, and now it's time to dive into today's episode.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Big Scuba podcast. My name's Ian, I'm one of the co-hosts, and with me is...
The other co-host, and my name's Gemma.
Yes, so we're back for another week of chatter, and we've got another guest lined up for you. We've got a magician this time.
We have. His name is Chef Anton.
Yes. So he is our scuba magician.
Yeah, he brings another little take to the PADI world.
Well, that's it. We like to talk about all different things in the world of diving, don't we?
Yeah.
But before we do that, let's talk about what's coming up. We got a bit of a chat about what we've been up to. You've been coast guarding again.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to chat a bit about Ross Kemp and his TV programme.
No relation.
No relation. Although that programme is now finished, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
For now. We've got news from various people. So Manta Trust, One Ocean Foundation, we've got Green Fins and Clean Ocean Sailing. And obviously we'll talk about our guests. So let's talk about what we've been up to.
Yep.
What have you been doing?
So I have my rescue course coming up next weekend. So I've started my online learning.
How's that going?
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's quite common sense comes into it a lot, but yeah, it's been really interesting. So I've got another couple of sections to do in the pool on Wednesday, and then had a bit of a Coast Guard call out in the week.
Right.
That was just a missing person search. Well, not just a missing person search, and that was quite a big operation.
Out for some time.
Yeah, and we were out a good 4.5 hours. Police helicopter was up, drones were up. So lots of agencies all came together.
Wow.
And it had a good outcome as well. But it was nice to meet some different...
The person was found all okay?
Yeah, all fine. And it was good to meet some other Coast Guard teams from Aldborough and Shingle Street. So, and that wasn't actually on the coastline. It was in a sort of forest area in Heathland. So,
Okay.
So, no, it was
good.
good.
How come the Coast Guard got called?
Well, it's a missing person search, so we're another agency that can search for people.
Right.
So and it was obviously nearish a river as well, so we've got to have that capability to search.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. It was a positive outcome for them as well.
They've had a couple more shouts while I've been off call as well.
Yeah. So. Well, I think as far as the rescue course go, and I really enjoyed doing mine. It's a really busy weekend, and you're going to be diving. A lot of the time will be spent above the water. You'll be on the water, and there'll be some of it where you'll be under the water. And we dive. We do a lot of the training at a place called Weybridge at the Ocean Pit. That the locals know. It's a big lake. It's not particularly that deep, but the visibility is it's like diving in a stewed cup of tea. Let's put it that way. It's very brown, and when you're under, you get different shades of brown. That space, but it's great for training because you literally can't see. So when you comes to doing the search patterns and things like that, you can't cheat and go.
He's over there.
Actually over there, 60 yards away, and you just happen to find them. No, you really have got to search for them.
But you can't. Would you be able to see your compass?
You can't hardly see your hand in front of your mouth.
No.
When I did it, and literally, it's very difficult. It's difficult conditions, but it can happen because you could be diving somewhere. And I've been in the sea at Weybourne when it's been really lovely visibility. The current change, up come all this sand and stuff, comes up with the current, and the visibility's gone.
Yeah.
and I couldn't see my buddy next to me. So,
Yeah.
so it does happen. So
Well, it's good to train in difficult conditions.
it is, yeah, definitely. So yeah, it's good. So you'll be doing that with the old Crystal Sea Scuba.
Yeah.
I'll be there on Saturday.
Yeah.
Helping out as a DM. So yeah, it'd be good. Looking forward to that. And we've got the Ford Nugget that weekend.
We
as
have,
well.
yeah, we're having delivery on Wednesday, so
Yeah.
we've got it for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
so we'll be
Hello.
making use of that.
Hello to everyone at Ford. Thank you very much. That'd be good to put that to use, and we'll be sharing about that as well. So that's that. We was in the pool, weren't we, on Thursday?
Yes, we had a little session, Crystal Seas in the
Yeah,
pool, so
yeah.
got a scuba gear
Doing
on.
some training, and Scuba Honey was doing some filming, and I was doing a bit of filming. You was doing a bit of film, and I've been using the Hydronaut freediving fins.
Yeah, they look very professional.
Yeah, they're really cool. So I'll be putting some pictures up on social media about them as well. So to share with everybody. First time I had it from freediving fins.
Yeah, and we were also in the pool because we did some magic tricks.
Yes, got practice magic. Yes. So
There'll be
abracadabra. Well, that's a bit hard to say abracadabra
Yeah.
when you've got a regulator. I found that quite difficult.
Yeah, it was good, but yeah, I think they were successful, weren't they?
Yeah, I think so. Well, you were. So yeah, let's talk Ross Kemp.
Yes. So,
Now I've seen various stuff about Ross Kemp, about his program, good and more constructive comments.
his program is Shipwreck Treasure Hunter.
Yeah, I have to say on the outset, I enjoyed it as entertaining.
Dramatic.
Yeah, and I think the constructive comments I've seen, it's been more about the diving, which, from divers' point of view, yeah, I get it. I get it.
Everybody can criticise and
But
observe.
I like to think as well, like I said on the last one, on the couple of episodes ago, that it wouldn't have been easy filming. And I think as well, it's a bit like watching, and I don't, we have reached out to Ross to come on and talk, and as yet he hasn't replied, for whatever reason. And
Busy
we
man.
certainly don't want to get him to come on and ear bash him or anything like that. It'd be good to know more about the training.
It would
Obviously,
be. Yeah.
We know some of the people who he's trained with, and we know Emily who he's dived with, and things like that. And you've got to remember as well, these TV programs are not just aimed at divers. They're not aimed at the diving community. They're aimed at people who probably have never dived, probably will never ever dive. The thought of diving probably scares the
They're
bejeebers
sitting on
out
their
of them.
sofas, having an insight into something that they probably will never
Yeah,
experience.
and that's who Ross is trying to appeal to make an entertaining show for somebody to watch on a Sunday night and go, wow, see that guy diving? What, he was doing some stuff. So, and we know, because there's some seriously technical and learned divers who know all the history about these wrecks and things like that. But you've got to remember, there'll be people watching who won't know the history, won't have a clue about this stuff. So for him to portray discovering some of these wrecks like they've never been discovered before, you've got to remember the bigger picture.
It's all it's drama, isn't it?
It's drama, because if not, if it weren't drama, nobody would watch it.
No, exactly. So
And we wouldn't have films like, I don't know, good films and so on. But there's got to be drama to make somebody sit there and watch it. Otherwise, they'll just turn on watch EastEnders or something like that. Do you
it's
know
got
what
to
I mean?
make TV. So,
It
but
has, yeah.
yes, there has been social media.
My view is a bit like, if Ross came on, one of the questions I'd ask him is how much diving experience he's had before he'd done that. Because what comes to me as a dive master, looking at somebody doing what Ross was doing, was I thought he was probably overloaded with task loading, because he's in the water, he's in at depth,
Full face mask.
in current, not particularly great viz, right? He's having to think about where he's for the camera, he's thinking about his own buoyancy, he's thinking about using a full face mask,
Yeah.
he's thinking about, looking around trying to see something interesting.
And he's
for
on a
the viewer.
TV set, so there will be take 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, he's also thinking about, thinking about what he's got to say. He's got to think of something. All these things you wouldn't normally. And if you started doing an open water dive, right, you might have somebody in a group with a GoPro, maybe not something that we would agree to personally, but you might have somewhere at most. But you wouldn't normally have a TV camera set, would you? Do you know what I mean?
No, and lots of other people around you that obviously you've got to be conscious of.
It looked to me, it looked to me like he's struggling with buoyancy quite a bit, and it's one of the hardest things to do. Most divers, including myself, find buoyancy really early on difficult.
Yeah,
but imagine having that with a TV camera and all that, and a full face mask in the sea, bad viz, when you're trying to just sort out your own diving.
Yeah, you've got to give him credit for the things that he was literally thrown into.
Yeah. So yes, we could say and there's diving which could have been done better. But I dare say same comments were made to Jacques Cousteau.
Yes, exactly. So it's not the first diving program
and things like that. So I still say I think it was a great entertaining show.
Yes.
On the face of it.
Yeah, and I think it's good for all divers to watch it.
It is, and I think if it wasn't for someone like Ross doing things like that, he wouldn't. People who wouldn't necessarily dive would see what goes on underwater. Because there'll be people who never watch stuff like Jacques Cousteau or some of these other programs.
No, this is a bit
They
more.
might only ever watch Steve Baxall, or they might only ever watch Ross Kemp underwater. So for that reason, I think it's a good show. And I think again, if anyone watches it and think, let's give this diving business a go.
Well, that's a bonus then, isn't it?
That's fair comment.
But anybody out there, if you want to,
to me, it was never portrayed. It was never done just to win over the diving community.
No. So
there's always better divers. There's always better divers.
Everybody's got different things that they get out of diving.
I dare say there's tech divers and salty sea divers would look at me and go, look at his fin technique, look at his buoyancy and things like that, and go, yeah, I know.
But any criticism should be constructive.
It should be, yeah, I think so. But it would, I say again, and I have messaged Ross and invited him to come on. It'd be great to know, because we know some of the people involved.
Yeah.
It'd be really great to have him on. Certainly not to give him a bashing about it, but to big him up.
No, well, he'd listen to his experience. It's not about what we think; it's about what he wants to.
To me, there's questions. I've got questions, about how much diving went on and his experience, and has he ever dived before?
Yeah.
Was that his first time? I don't think it was. I think he has dived previously, but not for some time.
Yeah. Oh well, we'll see.
You will see. So Ross, you're out there. Come on, get in contact, and let's hear from you. So come on, the big scuba. Okay, so let's put that to bed. We'll say just very quickly, do write in and let's have you.
Write in? DM us. Email us.
Sorry, I thought it was on
or get your pen and paper out and put a stamp on it.
Write in. Gemma's address. So it'd be good to hear from you and hear your thoughts anyway. That'd be really cool. Okay, Manta Trust. Let's talk about the Manta Trust. Manta Trust have got a little celebration.
Yes.
Now, they were on some time ago, weren't they?
Yes, we interviewed, we've had several Manta representatives.
The Manta Pacific, and the Manta Trust. And so the Manta Trust have got a project Fiji. Now we've got listeners in Fiji.
We have had,
because we're now in 114 countries.
Yeah, it wasn't so long ago. We were 101.
I know. So, 114. So,
and there are 185 countries in the world.
Yeah, so we're nearly getting around to them. So hello to happy little listeners out in Fiji. Send us a message to say hello. Let us know you're listening. So the Manta Trust have got a project out there, and they've now confirmed sightings of the first oceanic manta rays in Fiji. They've got a project going on, and it's based in right near the capital, Suva. I hope I pronounced that right. And you can go to the Manta Trust, either their social media or the website, and they've got a great video there, and you can see all their oceanic manta rays.
Yes, worth having a look.
Yeah, so go give them a look, and give them a bit of support as well. There's a support and thing for anyone who wants to support the project, or give them a good thumbs up. Just send them a message to say well done. It's good to see these things.
Yeah, it's all good news out there.
Yeah. Also, we've got the One Ocean Foundation. They're talking about blue carbon. Have you heard about this expression? And mangroves.
Not blue carbon, they're green.
Okay, so there's green carbon. So like the rain, we know that in the rainforest, it stores a lot of carbon in the roots and in trees and things like that. So they've now discovered that mangroves do the exactly same thing, but they call it blue carbon. And there's a foundation who they've been looking into all this, and they've discovered that in all these big mangroves, why we should have them, is that they're storing all the carbon. So these big mangroves, they're drawing all the carbon out of the atmosphere, goes into the roots, goes into all the soil, and then it stays. It'll be there forever.
So it's stored.
Yeah. So as long as we don't go disturbing it and digging them up or cutting through them, they'll be forever. So it's a real good reason to why we should look after our mangroves.
Yeah, and look after all our coastlines. That includes salt marshes and seagrass as well. Yeah.
So well done for that. The One Ocean Foundation. So go to their social media, go to their website, and you'll be able to read out more about that, about how the mangrove, why, especially if you live in an area where there is mangroves.
Yeah, and you do see, some of these sailing programs, if they're like in Panama and places like that, there's huge amounts of mangroves.
Yeah. So they're like a big sponge soaking up all this carbon. How
that's
cool
good
is that?
to know.
There you go.
It's a great finding.
It is. It is. You got some news?
Yeah, Greenfins, they're another previous guest.
Yeah.
So the Reef World Foundation, they have just launched a new initiative, but it's not directed at divers, it's snorkelers this time.
Oh,
so
right.
I think it's becoming more and more appreciated that snorkeling is a great way to get into the water, have an idea about ocean conservation, and sometimes it will lead to actual diving as well. So they've brought out an initiative for snorkelers and Greenfin's environmental best practice for snorkelers. So it will include things like reducing toxic chemicals when entering the ocean, like using safe sunscreens, checking out local laws, and obviously using snorkel equipment. So, and it's great for the tourist industry because lots of places are now back open, so there'll be more people snorkeling, more people in the water. So, and an easy one to do is like getting your safe sunscreen on. So sea to stream, it's all stuff that you can put on your skin to protect you from the sun, but it's not going to have any damaging effects on the water or the marine life.
All right, that's good then.
Yeah, so that's really good to see.
Well, snorkeling's a really good way of getting people into diving as well, isn't it?
And getting comfy in the water as well.
It is, yeah.
So well done, Reef World.
Excellent, we like it, well done. Last bit of news, a bit more local news this time, really, in the UK. So I saw this shared early in the week, and I thought, well, that'd be really cool to just highlight it as well. There's a Just Giving project going on at the moment, based in Cornwall and the Isles of Scilly, by Clean Ocean Sailing. Have you heard of them?
No.
So they are trying to raise £5,000 to collect and recycle another 55,000 kilogram of plastic pollution from the marine environment. They're a local Cornish voluntary organisation that dedicates themselves to cleaning the coastline and oceans, doing that sustainably under sail and raising awareness about the ocean crisis. they've already collected 55 tons of marine rubbish, and they want to collect some more. But what they need is a bit of dosh to help them do it.
So there's a crowdfunding page, I guess.
There's a crowdfunding page. So go to the crowdfunding website or the justgiving.com website.
Yeah.
Look up Clean Ocean Sailing. They've raised £634 so far.
Wow.
This is 12% of their target. They're trying to raise £5,000. So look them up, give them a bit of support, especially if you live in Cornwall or Devon, that sort of area.
Yeah, and every little helps. Doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
We're not looking for
just a pound.
Exactly.
Just a pound. Right, okie dokie. That's the news from us. Let's talk about Chef Anton now.
How did we come across him? We saw him on social media, I think, didn't we?
I messaged him a while back, and I think I might have seen him on social media. And so what Chef does, he teaches instructors, and he's a master scuba instructor, so he teaches other instructors, and he's also a practicing instructor, so he teaches people for their open waters as well in America. He's based in America, and he, as part of their way of getting people to relax in the water, he'll do simple tricks.
Yeah, in his previous, he still is. He was a magician.
He's been on main time TV, so he does a lot of pool hustling, and I think is that the right phrase, hustling?
Yeah.
He does a lot of magic, a lot of tricks on the pool table.
Yeah.
He's been on prime time American TV with Penn and Teller on Fool Us, which is a big show. Hello to the Penn and Teller gang as well. And their podcast. He's done lots of fun things, And,
he's a fun character, isn't he?
Quite a character as well. So you're going to really enjoy this. Really good conversation we have with him. He's fun.
Enthusiastic.
He is looking for UK instructors, because at the minute there's no UK instructors who can teach magic underwater.
Exactly.
Now it's recognised by PADI. We've checked. PADI, it is
like a speciality.
It is a speciality course that you can learn, and if you're an instructor, you can learn how to then teach it. Chef will actually teach you how you can then teach some of your students, and they are really simple little tricks, aren't they?
Yeah, and I was really disappointed there was no instructor in the UK.
There's none.
I was keen to do it.
So come on, who's going to be the first? Let's put a challenge out there to all the instructors out there who are listening. Who's going to be the first? Who's got an idea? There must be one instructor out there who enjoys magic.
But the one thing about these magic tricks that are done underwater is they all have a safety diving aspect to them. So
there is,
it's while you're carrying out the magic tricks, you're controlling your buoyancy, something to do on a safety stop, and all the gear used to do the magic, like elastic bands and cards, they're not disposed of in the water. They're all reusable. So which is really good.
It is, yeah. So it's all good, and like I say, PADI got behind it as well, which is really cool,
good,
and signed it off.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have done that if they felt that was wrong.
No, and Chef has also given us a link. He's shared one of his magic tricks with us.
Yes, so we'll be sharing all about that. Okay, well, I think that's enough of us running on.
Yes. We'll better get our guest on.
Let's get him on. Abracadabra. Okay, Chef. We've got Chef Anton, who's our very first magician and underwater magician, and he's managed to mix the two, and now teaches as part of a PADI speciality how you can do a bit of magic underwater, especially when you are doing your safety stop. How cool is that? So with us is usual, we've got myself and Gemma and Chef Anton. So Chef, take it away. Tell us about how you got into diving and magic. What came first? Was it diving or was it magic?
Hey guys, actually magic came first for me. I've been doing magic since I was about 4 years old. I was on a show called Penn and Teller's Fool Us. If you guys want to watch a fun video, go on YouTube, just type in Penn and Teller Chef Anton, it'll come up. You'll kind of get a feel for who I am and what I do. But yeah, I've been a performing magician since I was 18, and been making a living at it, ever since. I've been diving. I've got a little over 500 dives now. I've been diving about 3 years, actually. I got into diving pretty late in the game, but I'm currently a master scuba diver trainer. And next week, I'm actually going to Rainbow Reef to get to IDC Staff Instructor, which is like the 3rd highest thing that you can get to in scuba. And I should be master instructor by about the end of the year. So,
oh wow! So right at the top of the ladder, then.
Yeah, right. One below course director, but they want to tap out before I get to course director.
Brilliant.
So what made you decide you wanted to dive?
I'm a water guy, so I've always been involved in water sports. A number of years ago, went snorkeling with my wife and kids, and we just had the greatest time. And it was about 3 or 4 years ago that my wife and I were at Dominican Republic, and we saw this pool, and it had a sign that says, "Learn to scuba, just ask Eddie." That's all the sign said. As we walked around, Eddie, where's Eddie? This sounds interesting. And this guy he was really cool. And I said, my first question to him was, Eddie, should we learn to scuba dive? What do you think? And his exact words to me, and I say this to all my students, is I would be doing you a disservice not to teach you. He goes, this will change your life. This will change your everything. And I was like, all right, so we did discover, scuba diving in a pool. And the second I could breathe underwater and that was it. I was completely hooked. I mean, instantly swam around. The very next day we went out on the boat, went into the open water to discover scuba diving. And within a couple of minutes, the guy lets me go and I'm kind of doing my own thing, not realizing how much danger I was probably in, because I really didn't know much about anything at the time other than this is really fun. And got certified right after that. We got half the certification done in Dominican, did the other half here at the States, and boy, just been off and running ever since. I couldn't learn enough about scuba. So I got every certification imaginable, became an instructor, and then became certified to teach just about every scuba thing imaginable.
Yeah, that's amazing. And is your wife still diving as well?
Yeah, my wife is just got her 100th dive. We just got back from a resort, the Cocoa View Resort out in Honduras, which is beautiful. So yeah, she's a very avid diver. She's an incredible photographer. If you see the book and the Scuba Magician book or website, she took most of the pictures. If she's not in the picture, she took the picture or shot the video. So yeah, she's been really, really helpful with it.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And have you dived around the world, or mostly sort of locally to you?
Yeah, it's a lot of Southern California, and then Mexico. Bonaire is our favorite dive site. Then Honduras that we just went to. We're planning on traveling a whole lot more. The COVID obviously put a lot of dampers on us traveling, but she especially is a warm water diver. I've got dry suits, I've got everything. She would much prefer the 85-degree water of the Caribbean than the cold California waters.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've dived in a dry suit, have you?
Yeah, I'm a dry suit instructor as well as a dry suit diver. So in Southern California, the water can be in the mid 50s, and for me, I'd rather be warm and be in the be in a dry suit. For the listeners, and if you hear this thing in my lap, this is Goomba. He's a 12-week-old pug. So he's having a chew toy, because if I set him down, he'll scream and cry because he misses his dad. So I'll just keep him here in my lap. And you hear the noise, that's what it is.
It's not your stomach.
No,
it's not my stomach, right?
Yeah, no, that's really good. So what point did you then decide to combine diving and your magic tricks?
It is kind of an odd combination at first when people first hear about it. Where it started from is that I'm what they call a trade show sales entertainer. So this means that I work for like Fortune 500 companies. I work in their trade show booth, and I'm trying to teach their sales message to an audience. I use magic as the vehicle to do that. So whether I'm selling light bulbs or pitching, carpets or whatever, I figured a magic trick that's fun and interesting that I can combine that, what we call a sales messaging, where I combine their message into that's the cool. magic. And the rule that I followed for 30 years is that magic makes the message more memorable. Also makes it more fun, but it's more likely to stick when you've got a cool magic trick. So when I was learning to become an instructor, I was using magic in my presentations. I was using magic in my teaching because it's very natural for me. I'm like, here's a message I have to teach an audience. Well, how do I do that? I always use magic. And so at my IDC, my instructor development course, the course director had never seen anything like this. When I went to the IE, I got a perfect score because they're like, this is just the craziest thing that we've ever seen. But Manny says, I will always remember this presentation. I'll always remember how you talked about narcosis or decompression sickness. And so it kind of became natural. I'm like, well, I've really got something here. And so when I became an open water instructor and I had my first class, again, it was natural for me to use magic as an icebreaker to make them feel more comfortable with me. In the pool, when they were a little bit anxious and like that kind of thing, I do a card trick, just a quick card trick, and it just kind of relaxes them. And they're like, this is just, it's different. It's really fun. And where I really realized that I had something was on my very first open water dive with a student. I had a mom, a 13-year-old girl, a 10-year-old boy. And we go to the open water dive where we have to go like down the dive rope. And this boy in the pool was like a merman, right? He was fantastic. We get in the open water, big, vast open, 100-foot visibility, and he's just overwhelmed, right? I'm the first one down the line. He's the second one down the line. And his eyes get, as big as saucers. And he freaks out. If he could have like levitated above the water, he would have. He was like this scared. And he says, I'll never go underwater again. I'll never take a shower. I'll never take a bath. I'm not doing it. He starts crying. The mom is crying. The daughter is crying. The mom's going, I'm sorry, we shouldn't have done this. They're too young. They're too this. And I go, it's okay. I said, before we kick in, I said, we're going to go in right now. But before we do, let me show you one quick trick just to kind of settle everyone down. And the kid goes, well, I like your magic tricks. And so I started the trick above water. The next part of the trick, he has to put his face in the water because my hands are under the water. And I just started working him down the line. Yeah. And the next thing you know, by the time the trick is over, we're 20 feet down the line. And the kid looks around, looks at his mom and goes, and he goes swimming off. And that was it. He never had an issue ever again. But if I didn't have that's something to distract him at that moment, the course is over, right? And I'm like, first class, I'm devastated and all. So I realized, I said, this is a really good teaching aid, let alone for the end divers, that they get something like you say, how many times can we play rock, paper, scissors during a safety stop, right? Yeah. Play tic-tac-toe, rock, paper, scissors, we're just looking at things, 2 minutes and 30 seconds still left. It's like, it just feels like it's an eternity. Well, do a card trick for somebody, do a little rope trick or something. It's, it's fun. And they're all tied back to scuba. So there's like a scuba lesson to be learned from it. So they're kind of reinforcing concepts we're teaching them. It's fun, it's different. So yeah, why not?
That's cool. So your cards, so they got like plastic covers and so they don't go all funny. And how I can't imagine. So how does it work? Have you got like a whole pack, or do you just take a few down with you?
No. So when people buy into the course, whether it's an instructor or student, they get what's called an It Ain't Magic kit. In fact, I've got one right here. So it comes in this box, and it's a box full of magic tricks. So this is cards and ropes and wet notepads and little sponge balls and carabiners, but all these things are designed for magic tricks. Yeah. So the cards are underwater cards. They're actually drilled at the bottom of the card. So if you imagine if this was a deck of cards drilled right here, and they've got a key ring through them, so they're tethered to each other. And they're tethered to you.
So kind of like a small instructor card that an instructor might take down with them.
Yeah, exactly. Just that's the concept of it. But it's a full deck of cards, and I teach people magic tricks that they can do with the cards, even as they are. The cards can be shuffled. You could do all kinds of cool stuff with it. Yeah. So the course is designed for non-magicians to be able to do magic tricks. So the magic tricks, while they're simple to a professional, they're mind-boggling and impossible if you don't know the secret. We're not trying to turn someone into like a sleight of hand artist. We're trying to just teach them concepts of magic. But everything is designed with number one, diver safety in mind, right? So all the props, everything has to be good for divers, good for the environment in case they were dropped. But they're very well thought out as far as their makeup and how to use them. But it's a regular deck of cards in this example.
So a question I've got is, and I don't know whether you've had this or whether it's possible, is it possible that you could take a new diver down and they'll be so concentrated on your magic trick that they won't equalize or things like that?
Oh, no. Remember, the scuba magic is really designed for a safety stop. Right. So that's primarily why we do it. So we've done a dive. We're now at our safety stop. We've given the signal, 3-minute safety stop. So they're kind of settled in. either holding onto a line if it's a new diver, they've got a down line that they can hold on to,
Yeah.
or they're just kind of, we could be at 15 feet of water, so we could be on a sandy bottom and just kind of hanging out for the,
Okay.
the gas out. And then we do the magic tricks. The real rules that we really follow is that the magic is never done in an environment where it would detract from anybody's dive. So you're not going to wreck. You're not going to do it on a deep dive. That'd be dangerous. We're doing it in shallow water. It's really the end of a dive, kind of a thing. It's like getting an ice cream sundae on your birthday, right? That you weren't expecting. Here's just a little something.
It must make people look forward to their safety stop.
yeah, exactly. And it's something in the book. We talk about how to ask for permission from a group of divers before the dive to let them know what you're doing, so that you don't blindside somebody with, hey, pick a card. They're like, where did this come from? So if I'm with a group of divers, introduce myself and say, I do this cool magic during a safety stop, and if you guys are interested in seeing it, like, here's the signal, and if I give you the signal and you give me the signal back, that means that you want to.
So for our podcast listeners, what's the signal?
Oh, I'm doing a finger on the nose. It's in con man world. This is like, you're in the know. You're in the know. So if you
you're in the know.
Yeah, exactly. That it's like we know like a secret sign, right? This is something that's not a scuba sign. So this, you want to see magic? They go, yeah. And go, all right. And then you do it. So it's always done at the end of the dive, or sometimes you get to a dive site. I'm sure you've had this. You bring a friend to a dive site that you love, and it's bad conditions, right? It's just, there's turbidity, the fish aren't really animated that day, whatever. And your friend's like, really? This is what you brought. Well, if you've got a couple of 2-3 magic tricks to do, they will always remember this dive, because if they've never seen it before, it's just something really cool about it. So if you're a dive master, you can get more tips, do a little trick on a dive for somebody. If you're with some buddies, it's just something to show them that's, new and different. And if you're an instructor, it also has the value of being a non-diving training aid. So, it really helps everybody all involved.
Yeah, it's right. I remember at our Christmas party, our diving Christmas party, a couple of years ago, and they had a magician who, I believe he was a diver as well, and he went around us. He went around us on our, while we were sort of drinking and chatting and what have you. Yeah, and he was doing card tricks. Yeah, and I've never had a magician come up to me to do a card trick, and I was like, right, I'm gonna catch her out. I'm gonna watch where this, watch out for the sleight of hand and sleight of hand and all that. And he got me twice. Like, oh no, that's bad news.
Done correctly, magic's invisible. Even if you know what to look for, when it's done correctly, there's literally nothing to see. So the nice thing is the magic that we're teaching people, they can actually do above water or below water. So it's a way to meet some new friends. If you're amongst a group of scuba divers, they will particularly like it because it's like scuba related magic. But and also think about it this way, for like a non-diver, someone's never dove before, and we're trying to show them an example of how color red gets absorbed underwater, right? And they go, what do you mean the red disappears? Well, I've got a magic trick that you can do on land that will show them that exact effect. And then you're like, imagine now we're 2 feet down, and then the paddle that you had in your hand changes magically into like this grayish color. But now as we came back up again, then all of a sudden the red comes back again. I've got a thing for doing narcosis. How do you explain to somebody the effects of narcosis at 100 feet? Well, I've got a magic trick that can simulate that for them. So it's a great for like dive briefings, right? This dive, we're going to do a deep dive. Effects of narcosis might kick in. Let me show you what that might feel like. But now we're on the safety of land. So great for instructors, but also good for a non-diver to kind of introduce them to how do you tell somebody about nitrogen absorption.
So I've got to ask, so when you approach PADI and say, right, this is what I want to do, what sort of feedback did you get from PADI about that?
They went ape blank, ape beep. they love the idea. Really? In fact, the idea actually came from the instructor's exam. When I was at the IE, was the first time one of them goes, in my 35 years of being an examiner, I've never seen anything like this ever. He goes, you really have something here. You should talk to PADI about it. And originally my thought was, oh, maybe they want me to come in to like show new students this, to like relax them, or to here's how I do a presentation, just like a fun an aside. But then as I started like developing it, and then I reached out to PADI and I said, I want to do this distinctive outline, on Scuba Magic. They go, we don't have anything like this. And as it started morphing, they go, you're talking about something that's far more than pull a quarter out from somebody's ear. And what they meant by it was, this is going to help instructors. This is going to help divers. Think about this, as a diver that's learning to do the magic tricks, they're learning to task load. So their buoyancy skills have to be good. They have to be able to manage an audience, angles and that kind of thing. So they're kind of taking on like a dive master's role as a student still. They're going to learn skill sets that would help them later if they wanted to become a dive professional. Yeah. How do you position your audience? How do you make sure that everyone's safe? How do you check for air on everybody between tricks so that there's no out of air things? So you're getting them situationally aware of things that most divers really wouldn't be. So you're actually training a regular diver to become a professional at a later point. It's kind of like the Mr. Miyagi and Karate Kid. They don't realize how many skills they're actually learning that will help them as a dive professional until much later in the game. So, so PADI is all about it. They have predicted this will be their most popular and most well-received distinctive ever. They think that this is going to really just, I've had course directors say this will revolutionize the way that scuba training is done.
Yeah, it sounds, amazing that it's kind of brings in other skills. So your fellow friends who are divers, what was their reception of it when they said you're going to do a course involving magic underwater?
Of course, you get the head tilting like the dog confused. You're like, huh? Really? Is this really what you're thinking of? So the first impression that a lot of people get when they don't know anything about it, and you say Scuba Magician, you kind of get the, are you serious? Is this a joke or is this real kind of a thing? When they see it actually applied, that's when it kind of kicks in. When they see the videos, YouTube videos or whatever, and they kind of see outside, they go, okay, this is actually really fun. My friends know that I'm an extremely driven person. I did this for 2 years. It took 2 years to develop this course. It wasn't like an overnight thing. And I worked hand in hand with PADI to, write the book, develop the course accordingly so that I knew that they were going to be on board with it. But yeah, I mean, friends that know me, they've seen me doing this kind of stuff for a very long time. So I don't think it caught them off guard.
Is it on PADI's website?
What's that?
Is it on PADI's website?
It is in the Undersea Journal this month. So they did an entire article about it. It'll be in Undersea Journal Q1 and Q2. It's not listed on their website, or if it is, it's pretty buried because there's a lot of distinctives, and they have to give equal time to everybody. But I'm hoping at some point that PADI will actually adopt this as a regular specialty.
Yeah.
They have adopted it that it actually does apply towards a master scuba diver rating. So to get master, you have to have 5 specialties. Scuba Magician actually now counts as a specialty. So, that's pretty cool that they can actually take this course and get credit towards a big end goal.
So I could, because I've just done my open water and advanced open water. So, I'm thinking what specialities I should do. So I could do this.
You could do Scuba Magician, yes, absolutely. And right now what we're looking for is instructors, obviously people that want to take advantage of this specialty. Students, if they don't have an instructor in their area, can still take the course. They do the online version. They still get the kit. They get everything. The only thing I can't do is certify them until they're in front of an instructor. But they can still learn all the same skill sets. They can learn all the magic tricks. They can learn everything, with it. So if there's not an instructor in your area, we just need to start reaching out to instructors in your area. Say, hey, you should look at this course because.
So my next question is: have you got any instructors in the UK?
I believe, actually, I know that we do. We signed up at DEMA. We signed up 181 instructors in those 4 days that DEMA was.
Wow.
And then we're now approaching 500. So worldwide, we currently have 500 Scuba Magician instructors, or at least they're training to be, because they have to go through the course themselves. They don't need to get certified by me. The way that I wrote it is that you don't need to be a certified Scuba Magician to be a Scuba Magician instructor. The reason why is that right now I'm the only instructor. So, no one else can get certified unless they came to California. So I didn't want to limit it. but they will still get training from me. But yeah, there are Scuba Magician instructors in the UK, absolutely. We just signed up one in Japan and Malaysia. We got one in Dubai. And we now have course directors that are signing up to be instructor trainers. So now they can teach the instructors to become Scuba Magician. They can try to teach the instructors to be Scuba Magician instructors. They'll levels up.
That's amazing. So
Jem?
I better have a chat to Crystal Seas and sign me up.
yeah, exactly. And like I said, and if there's not an instructor there yet, that's a perfect opportunity to make an introduction. Let me talk to them about it. Highly beneficial for instructors, because the magic that they learn in the course is actually applicable to any scuba class. So we have a database. They've got a fish ID class coming up. We have a magic trick specifically designed for that class that they could either do during their dive debriefing or underwater with their students. So it's so much more than simply learning it to teach my course. You can use this magic to enhance any course, because again, as we said earlier, magic makes the message more memorable. So if you're wanting the students to remember a key point, that's what the course is all about. Yeah.
So what level of diver do you have to be to do the magician course? Are you?
Yeah, simply need to be open water certified and 10 years old to be able to take the course. So yeah, we made it as open as we possibly could.
Yeah.
The way that the course works, just to, for viewers' information, is they get the book and their kit from the instructor. The book is called the Scuba Magician Handbook, and that has all of the safety things that they really need to be aware of. When to perform it, where to perform it. It's 90 pages, and it's really drilling the concepts of diver safety. Yeah. Then they get the It Ain't Magic kit that I showed you earlier. That gets them access to a video library, and it's me teaching them one-on-one on the video how to do all the magic tricks that are involved in the course. They have access to learning 24 different tricks. To get certified, you're gonna do 6 of them. Right. So your instructor will select the 6 that he wants you to focus on. So you'll say, here are the 6, you'll watch my videos, you'll learn them, practice them. You get together with him, they do a little bit of land practice with you, hop in a pool, and you get to do it now for the first time underwater, working on the skills. And then it's 2 open water dives, and then you do 3 tricks on each dive. Yeah. So that's what's involved with certification. Another fun thing that we do as part of the certification is we play underwater charades. You can do this above water or below, but for example, how do you tell somebody that your card is the Jack of Spades? It's not, we don't have a hand signal for it, right? It doesn't exist in the world. So you have to think of a creative way to communicate to somebody, Jack of Spades, or cut the rope, or shuffle the cards, or something like that. So again, these are really good non-diving training aids that it's helping people with underwater communication. Yeah. So we're getting them thinking outside of the box on how do I communicate in nonverbal ways these odd concepts that might come up when you're doing a magic trick for somebody. Yeah. So we get a list of things that we want a student to teach, and we videotape them, and they're hysterical. Try to get somebody to say, Queen of Clubs, and what do they come up? The guy's got a bat and he's like clubbing something. He's a queen, and yeah, so it's very funny to see what they come up with. But again, it's just getting them thinking a little bit is why we do that exercise.
Yeah, it sounds like you've really put a lot of thought and time into perfecting this. Yeah, and that can't be easy.
Yeah, because I know thousands of magic tricks, but I had to apply ones that applied back to scuba. They were easy enough to do for a non-magician. They were still a real fooler, for a non-magician to be able to perform it, and still have all the safety considerations in mind that, we have to be able to do this underwater. We have to be able to do this without taking a regulator out of her mouth and all those kind of things. So yeah, all the tricks that we selected, there's a reason behind it. They're not just, random tricks.
So did you fool Penn and Teller?
You're going to have to go on to to the YouTube and watch it. That's how I keep getting views.
Sure. There we go.
So for any kind of very new divers, or even people that think they might try diving, this might be like a real carrot to kind of like get them in the water.
Yeah, great for families, to get younger, get them off their iPads, get them off their iPhones, get them diving, get them outside, teach them a couple magic tricks. It's good for socialization, good for school. There's so many applications that magic helps you. I've gotten out of speeding tickets from a cop because I happen to have a deck of cards. He saw it. He goes, "Why do you have a deck of cards?" I'm like,
No
"Well,"
way.
and then all of a sudden, he wants to see a magic trick, and then he's like, "All right, slow down," or or
I'm
whatever.
gonna have to try that one.
Yeah.
I speed. No.
Yeah, not about speeding, but yeah, but I mean, it's funny the things that you can kind of get yourself in and out of,
Yeah.
or you want to, someone did something really special for you. A clerk at a store did something super nice, went out of their way. You know what? Show them a little magic trick. Just magic goes along. As you were talking about that guy that fooled you, and he goes, "Oh my God, he fooled me twice." You're gonna remember that for a long time.
Yeah, I'll tell you. And I did remember that, and and I was so determined. I was going to figure him out, and I was like, I was watching his hands, watching what he's doing with the cards, everything. And it still fooled me.
Yeah, there's a great story of me when I was a younger guy just getting into magic. Kind of knew some stuff, but not a whole lot. And here's this really good world-class magician that's performing at an event. I'm like, oh, I'm going to figure him out. I'm going to figure out how he does this thing. And what drove me nuts was that he would have a card selected, and then it would end up under somebody's drinking glass. And so I watched and I go, "What?" He goes, "Do you know where your card?" He goes, "Where?" He goes, "It's under the drinking glass." And they're like, "Oh man," everyone lost it. Well, I watched the set again like an hour later, and he goes, "Do you know where the card is?" And he goes, "Where?" He goes, "Under the drink." And he got me again. I'm like, "Wait, like 3 times," and I never saw. So the 4th time, I don't take my eye off the drinking glass, right? The whole show, I'm watching. I'm like, I'm just gonna figure out this one thing. And he goes, "You know where the card is?" And I'm like, "Okay, here's the moment." And he goes, "It's right there under the ashtray." And he put it like 6 inches away from the drinking glass under an ashtray because he knew I was watching the drinking glass. And he gives me a wink and he goes, "I got you again, didn't I, kid?" And I was like, "Oh!" And he was at that point, I'm like, okay, now I got to learn how all this magic stuff works because it made such an impression on me.
I like what you say, and I tell you what, anything that gets our kids off the phones for a little while. Phones are with us, as simple as that, and but anything that gets our kids off the phones and doing something else and focusing and being interactive with each other is a positive thing. It's a brilliant thing.
And interactive with the family, because they can learn these tricks together and practice them together and have fun. So we've got Kids Sea Camp, which is a very big organization. They're bringing us in 23 for a number of weeks to certify a lot of families. Actually bringing us in this year to kind of introduce it to everybody. But and organizations that have like Kids Sea Camps or any kind of like get together like that, it's great seminar for people to be able to watch and enjoy. We have a seminar called the Abracadabra Seminar, where we kind of show them, what we do and how it works. It's just kind of it's a magic show. Magic show for scuba people.
Yeah. So how did you cut down to the actual? Because as you say, there's thousands of different tricks you can do. So how did you must have like a favorite and a top 10 of tricks. So how do you cut that down into something that's easy to, and that someone else will easily be able to pick that up? What was the deciding factor?
There were a number of factors in selecting any scuba magician magic trick, and I talk about this in the book. They had to meet certain qualifications. First and foremost, they had to be able to be performed safely. So it couldn't be anything that diver safety was going to be an issue to be able to perform it. Number 2, it had to be good for the environment. So we wouldn't bring something down. You're not going to bring an egg to crack an egg underwater because you're polluting. So again, these were considerations. The biggest consideration was that it had to be simple enough that you can do as a non-magician, knowing that people are still playing with their buoyancy and being able to do things, and an audience can be able to understand what's going. And then the last consideration was that it had to tie back to scuba. So it couldn't just be a random trick. There has to be a scuba lesson to be learned from it. And so I just started looking at the effects and what meets all these criteria, and then say, yep, these will work. But we're continuing to adding to this database that they get. So when you sign up for the course, you get access to what we call our Inner Circle database, which is a video gallery of tricks. Well, we're going to have eventually probably hundreds of tricks on there. The course itself will still have like the core 6 that you're going to do, but the instructors will have a greater variety of tricks that they can select from.
Right.
As we keep adding to this and figuring out what people are liking and going from there. The other thing that was important to me was to have non-diving training aids that were still related to scuba, like a wet notepad, that it was useful prop, that you wouldn't just be bringing it down for a dive for a magic trick and that's all that you're going to do with it. So it still is a wet notepad, but my wet notepads have magic tricks built into them, so that the magic trick is already on the wet notepad. So where you already have it with you, well, now you can kind of kill two birds with one stone. Using props like rope or carabiners or bolt snaps, things that we're going to as divers have on us, was something that I really wanted to be able to have, was that these are objects that we would have, and here's how you can use them for magic.
Yeah, that's really good, because it makes it really sustainable then, doesn't it? It's just a, and if
anything gets lost, we have replacement parts and all that, lost, damaged, whatever, but they're really high quality products. We really pride ourselves. We didn't go chintzy on any of this. We're trying to keep the course at a minimal, just making small profits, but we did not take away the quality on anything. That was number one for me.
So as a magician, are you always learning new tricks?
The nice thing, and I'm glad that you brought up this question, because it applies back to what we're talking. So within the magic community, we have like what we call the inner circle, which basically means that once you're kind of accepted in, people share anything with you. They'll share any secret, anything, because you're like a made guy, right? So you've taken the time, you've done the art, you've studied, you've worked, you're giving something back. And so now people will give unto you. So as an instructor, as a scuba magician instructor, one of the benefits that they get is that we're creating this infrastructure of like-minded instructors that want to share their tips and secrets from any class that they've learned. So when you sign up as an instructor with us, they gain access, an invitation. It's invite only. It's like a Facebook page that's Scuba Magician Instructor Only. And here we can now share successes, challenges. We can talk very openly, because it's just instructors. We don't have to worry about students reading something. And we talk about, like we did a thing last week about deep diving. What are the experiments that you use for deep diving compression? So we've got like water bottles, and then somebody else said they use a mannequin head, and like a styrofoam head, and it will shrink like a head shrinker. Compression. They're just thinking like the foam head. I never heard of that before. It's like, how awesome is that? Someone else said they've done the same thing, like a styrofoam cup.
So what happens afterwards?
Shape, but just proportionately shrinks down. I had one that I love. The guy says, we show him a baseball on the surface, and we say, what do you think will happen at depth? And they put it in like one of those little glass containers, like what you display your baseball with. And the students go, well, I don't think anything. And what they do is they swap it for an identical foam baseball. They bring it down. Well, now it shrinks down, and the students are led to believe that the baseball did that. Well, now it's kind of like effects of narcosis also. Well, as a logical person up here, you realize that couldn't have compressed, but at 100 feet, you actually bought into that. So that's already telling you your thinking might have been slowed down. So I love this kind of stuff, because it's instructors just sharing secrets. The idea of doing it in our own instructor only group is that we're all forward thinking, right? All these instructors are signing up with me are people thinking a little bit outside of the box and willing to share these kind of ideas. Because a lot of instructors, quite frankly, won't. I never could understand that. But it's like, nope, this is my secret. I'm going to hold on to it. I don't want anyone else to know it. This is mine. I'm like, don't we all want to be better teachers? Don't we want to have better students?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and obviously progression.
Exactly.
If
not, we're always recreating the wheel, right? Why can't we all just keep making the wheel better by sharing ideas? And I found just on other group forums, they just either don't share, or then you got the naysayers that want to slap you down. Then you're like embarrassed to ask a question because 10 people are going to say something really negative about you for asking a question. Well, our forum is like safe haven, right? It has two rules. Number one, be positive. Number two, follow rule number one. That's it. So as long as everyone's kind of sharing and being, positive. So again, these are benefits that the instructors get by signing up for the course. It's so much more than the course. That's the thing that I want instructors to understand. It's really building a community to make better instructors, therefore making better divers out of our students, and just building this community, the scuba community as a whole, in taking it to the next level.
Yeah, I've got to ask, how's the magic community taken to this? Because then, isn't it kind of frowned on? Magicians explaining how tricks are done.
Not at all in this case, because there's a feeling amongst the community that by sharing secrets with other people, that it adds to magic, because people are like, oh wow, this I kind of know the secret to this, and now you want to see if you could figure out somebody else. But the stuff that I do, like at the Magic Castle or from performing on TV, these are really high-end sleight of hands that are probably still going to fool you. So you kind of feel like you maybe gained something, but you still get fooled by watching them. The feeling amongst the magicians in our forums is, well, you're just creating more interest in magic. You're bringing magic now underwater, and everybody wins by doing that. Because we feel a lot of our scuba magicians will maybe want to take on magic. They'll start doing it underwater. They'll go, this is really fun, but now I don't want to be limited by scuba magician stuff. I want to learn other things that I couldn't do underwater, and can generate a lot of interest in that variety as well.
Because there's have you had any people from the Magic Castle then want to go, hey, this scuba diving business, I want to give that a go?
Yep, absolutely. I've had brilliant. A lot of magicians that saying, look, this sounds really fun. And so, it's kind of helped both communities, right? It's generating an interest in scuba that might not have been there before, going, wow, I'm a great magician. I like underwater, but I never thought about this as something I could do. Now this seems really fun to me. I want to get into scuba. And then you got the scuba people going, this sounds really interesting, and maybe I want to get into magic. So it's kind of cross-feeding both communities and just creating, interest in it and awareness. And if nothing else, even if the guy doesn't want to be a scuba diver or doesn't want to be a magician, they're going to see why I like scuba diving and why I like magic. And it's like, it's sharing that passion with somebody that I think is a really big thing as the community as a whole. I remember a guy that was a stamp collector, right? I couldn't think of a more boring thing on the face of the earth than to be like a stamp collector. And I said to him, all right, explain to me why you like this. What's your passion about stamp collecting? And he opened up this book and he goes, you see this little picture, and it's got the stamp, and it's got this little guy, and he's on a mast of a boat, right? He's a black guy who's kind of hanging off of the boat like he was looking for land or something. I go, yeah. He goes, you see this one? It doesn't have the guy. And he goes, same exact stamp, but they misprinted the guy. And I go, yeah. He goes, the one with the guy is a common one, and it's worth 49 cents. The one without the guy is worth 2 million. Because there was 3 ever made, and I have one of them. Wow. And I was like, wow, okay, now I'm starting to see what it's these subtle differences or the evolution of stamps that made it interesting to him. So while I don't want to be a stamp collector still, I get why he does. And that's really cool to me, because he shared something with me that I get now, and I can kind of connect with them on a different level. So when we're doing magic for people, this is more high-end magic stuff, but we always say that there needs to be a reason to perform. I'm not simply doing a magic trick just to fool you and make you clap, or for me to say I'm really good and you're going to tell me I'm really good. It's to share something with you, right? I'm going to scare the bejeebers out of you with this magic trick, and you're going to stay up at night wondering how this is done. Or, I can read your mind, Gemma, right? I can read your mind. I'm going to prove it with the thing. And you're going to hide your thoughts from me for the rest of your life, because you're going to wonder, could I really, or now it's like, it's exciting for you, right? Now it's like something I'm giving you something. It's like, oh, this is interesting. Same thing with the scuba magic, right? We're giving them something for them to go, a little takeaway, and tell a story to somebody else about the time that this diver did this for me.
No, that's really good. And for instructors that maybe if, they're just doing the same old courses, they must get a little bit flat, and this must be something that really opens another avenue for them.
It can really re-energize their own teaching. It can make them start thinking outside of the box themselves, and we're really hoping that this goes long term. Is so I'm bringing magic to the table. The next guy could bring something else to the guitar or singing or poetry or whatever, whatever it is, whatever their little skill sets are. How can we use that to teach scuba? And where is scuba training going to go moving forward? Because it really hasn't changed a lot in 30 years. I'm excited to see, what does it look like 10 years from now? Did this really make an impact on training and the way scuba is taught? Because if people start thinking of things that they bring to the table that others don't, this could really be revolutionary. I've got scuba divers that were cops. So they've got different training in their background. And so they have a cop mentality when they're teaching scuba, but they're really good concepts. I'm like, I never thought about saying it this way, but that's his life, things that influence his life. So now he influences his teachings. Well, I can, even though I'm not a cop, I can still throw that in as an example for someone, for them to get a concept again. So yeah, that's where I'm really hoping this thing goes. And that's the idea of the forums and these things, is to open people's minds on how can this impact training? How can this impact our ability to keep divers safer and to make them better divers? Because if you're doing a magic trick, well, your buoyancy is going to be good. Your breath control is going to be good. Air management is going to be spot on. Situational awareness. So by doing these magic tricks, hopefully people will become a better diver ultimately, because they're kind of task loading themselves in a fun way. I didn't learn buoyancy till I learned photography underwater, right? My buoyancy was good, but when I got a camera and now I had to use my breath control because I couldn't do this, I thought I revolutionized using your breath. No one taught me to me. I figured it out. And I'm like, I called my instructors like, oh my God, I just figured out the greatest thing. If you use your breath control to go up or down, you can make fine adjustments underwater. You don't have to keep dumping air. He's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, I didn't know. So it was when I got the camera in my hand is when I kind of figured it out. Same thing when you're trying to do a rope trick underwater, they're kind of going different ways. Well, your buoyancy better be on, or you're going to be going, all directions.
That is a real positive message, I think, and particularly safety being key as well. That's really good.
And, and that was if there's anything that people frowned upon when they first heard it, they go, oh wow, now we're taking a dangerous sport and making it more dangerous, because now you're making people do magic tricks, as if I'm going to like force a magic trick on a diver that doesn't want to see it. And I'm like, no, you're going to watch my magic trick right now. And I'm like, no. So if you read the book, if you heard me talk, if you watch the videos, you'd see, the number one thing is this will never detract from another diver. It can only enhance their dive, right? We're only designed to do that. So if they simply don't want to see a trick, you just don't show them a trick. It's that easy. I'm not forcing it on anybody, but it's really, you're going to be the guy that they talk about at Thanksgiving dinner. Did I ever tell you the time this diver did a magic trick? Yeah, you told us last year, but it was so amazing, and they really want to tell the story again.
We support the Penn Sunday School, and I know a couple of them are divers, Godot and Penn. Have you thought about getting them behind you with this, with them, a bit of support?
I haven't, but I'm going to write this down or email you after the podcast and talk about it. I actually just signed up as a merit badge counselor, a counselor for the Boy Scouts. So I can now certify Boy Scouts in scuba that want to do it for their merit badges. So again, it's just giving back to the community that's given me, so much. And especially if it's underprivileged kids, if it's Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, these kind of causes are, I'm all in to support them in any way that I can.
And it's getting more youngsters into the diving as well, which is so important. I
mean, that's what's going to keep the sport alive. And at the end of the day, more divers means that they're buying more gear, so the shops win. So I talk to my divers about not buying stuff on Amazon. Support your local shops. Then you might pay a couple of bucks more. We can't get an air fill on Amazon. So we have to keep this sport moving forward, and the way you do it is by getting youths involved and getting them into it.
There is, and that is, getting the young people involved diving keeps the sport going. We've got a project that's in the registration process at the moment, and that's called Dive Project Cornwall, and where it's gone out across all the schools in the UK where they can register.
Oh, it's awesome!
And they'll have a chance. 400 children will have a chance to actually learn how to dive.
That's great.
There's a competition that they have to fill in, and what a great place where you could actually do some magic as well, because kids love all that. Everyone loves it, really. But kids just like, wow, they get really enthusiastic.
Right. And by doing some of these scuba magic tricks, even for them on land, it could get them excited about, oh, that's what scuba's about. That's kind of fun. So we've got great publicity photos of doing that kind of stuff. But getting the youth involved. If there's any organizations that are listening to this that want to bring me in for that kind of thing, I volunteer time. I'm all about helping that. But these sound like great causes to me.
Definitely. Really good positive messages there. Exciting stuff. As well.
Right.
So we always ask our guests some set questions. So the first one is, if you could take 3 people diving underwater, they don't have to be divers, but just because you want to show them the underwater world,
Yeah.
Who would you take? They can be past, present.
Okay. I would take. First, I'd take Penn and Teller, because then I get a chance to potentially fool them. How fun would be fool them underwater? So yeah, I think that Penn and Teller would be absolutely first. My family, obviously, my wife dies, my kids don't yet, but we're getting them into the diving. So for them to be able to, if I could have this way to safely bring them underwater for them to experience it right away, that would be it for sure. And a third one. Going back, try to think a little bit outside of the box. I would probably go more with something like mentors that have helped me in other aspects of my life.
Mm-hmm.
They've given me so much. Mentors have meant the world to me. And for me to take each one of them individually and share with them something that they might have experienced, something like that would actually be really meaningful to me, because my mentors have meant a lot to me in my lifetime.
Yeah, great answers.
Yeah, brilliant. Give them something back as well. Awesome. So I've got a pack of cards here.
Okay.
I'm not going to do a trick because I can't do tricks. And
Yet.
But let's have a look, see what the top card was. The Ace of Spades. Look at that. Now, on the back of this pack of cards I've had this pack for years. It's got Guinness for our listeners. You probably can't see it because of the Zoom thing, but it's Guinness on it. If we could change that pack and we could give that out to people, what message, or maybe a photo, or maybe some kind of image would you put on that pack of cards?
If I were to put an image on a pack of cards, other than my Scuba Magician logo, of course, what I would put on there would be a baby smiling. Because think about the innocence of a baby that is just happy, right? It doesn't have any negative anythings in its life. It's just that innocence of happiness.
Yeah.
A lot of people, as they get older, lose that. And I don't know why. As a magician, I get to be young for the rest of my life, right? I get to be a kid forever, like Peter Pan kind of a syndrome. When I perform for people, I get to see the smile that Ian has right now, right? You get to see that smile on people's faces, that look of, perplexed. If we could bottle that and just bring this to the world and say, do you remember this? Do you remember how easy life was? And we're not really worried about this, and keep everything in perspective. It would be that, because I say that to people a lot about keeping perspective about what's going on, drama, stresses, this, that, the other thing. We could reframe it to those moments of innocence. I think that would be a great message for people.
I just thought of another one. I don't know what, I just thought of somewhere else where, learning magic would be really awesome and take people's minds off things. We've got an agency here called Depth Therapy, and they do some amazing things, helping people get into the water. We're talking veterans who've got mental scars, they've got physical scars, all sorts of disabilities.
Yes.
And Depth Therapy do some absolutely awesome things. We spoke to them a while back. I think about episode 30, something like that. And that'd be another thing, where, if somebody's really nervous, about getting into the water, because of whatever, thing they're going through, you could use a bit of magic to, take their mind off what's stressing them out, and say, right, well, let's get in the water,
So, I'm also a member of the HSA, which is the Handicapped Scuba Association. So I'm a handicapped scuba instructor as well. So we're trained how to teach a blind person how to dive, or paraplegic or quadriplegic. And, we're trained in all these different ways. So those kind of go hand in hand. I work with a lot of vets that have, post-traumatic stress and all that. And again, teaching these kind of magic tricks sometimes helps with, therapy with the hands if they can't manipulate things. So there's certainly a lot of applications to it for sure.
Yeah, it's very far-reaching. I think it's so. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, no, it's good. And then our third question is there something, a nugget from your life that you can tell people that will, help them? Anything, either from your diving life or your magic life, that is there some nugget that you can pass on to our listeners?
Well, my grandma was a very wise person, and I mention her a lot in my training of scuba and all that. And grandma always told me that a smile and kindness is free, and you could give it to anybody at any time that you want. And it's the gift that we'll give forever. So share kindness, give someone a smile, say thank you, just be nice to people, and hopefully that it comes back. But no matter how stressed we are, no matter how whatever, you can always just be kind. So
and you can always smile.
So you'd always smile, and you can always, when someone's having a really bad day, maybe it'll help them, maybe it won't, but there's no sense in adding to it, right? That's not gonna do a bit of good. So
No, excellent answers. Yes.
Yeah, brilliant. And it's been awesome. And it's been really good. That's a really positive message. And then what's really nice is that magic is open to everybody. There's all different levels. There's no politics, there's no religion involved.
Right.
It can appeal to everybody, and just like diving. At the end of the day, and I think that's what's good about it.
Yeah, I remember being in Africa doing a magic trick for like a chief that had probably never seen a deck of cards in his life. They're not something they're exposed to, Americanized. And I did just a normal card trick for him. And when the trick was over with, he had the same look that an American or anybody seeing a card. He takes the card and he holds it up to the sunlight to see if there's like a card inside of the card. And then he just kind of shrugs and he hands it back to me. So it's like, even though he didn't understand a word of what I said, no concept of what a two of hearts is, he still reacted the same way, because it's very universal. You don't need to talk for people to get what you're doing.
No. Well, I want to say thank you very much for bringing this to our attention. Thank you for making this a PADI course as well, so making it official, and and getting that out there, and well done for doing that. It's brilliant.
Appreciate it. You guys help out a lot with that cause. So yes,
if people want to find out more about you, have you got a website they can go to and an Instagram account?
So basically everything is Scuba Magician. So if scubamagician.com goes to the website, that has all the social media links on it. But Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, but everything. If you go to the website, that's normally the easiest way. If anybody has questions, I'm really open to answering questions, emails, texts. My cell phone number's on my website. I'm very approachable. If people want a little bit more information or don't quite understand something, it normally a 10-minute call answers any and all questions. So
How much does it cost?
The instructor crew pack is $295. For the $295, what they do is they get the handbook, they get the kit, they get the rights to teach the course, they get access to that inner circle of a video gallery that I was saying, and also an invitation to that Instructor Only Forum. Once they become an instructor, I will then wholesale the books and kits to them for their students. Basically, they'll buy it from me for about $100. They'll resell it to the students for $200. Which is more in line with what they paid. But on my site, I sell the crew packs for $250 for students, so that these teachers can get it to their students cheaper than their students could get it from me. To help them out. So instructors make about $100 per person just signing them up. So if you get 3 students, the course is paid for. Now it's all gravy after that. And they'll benefit, because they get the course for about $200. So
that's really good, because instructors, I don't want to go down this road too much, because I know it's very politically talked about, but instructors don't get paid that much. It costs an absolute fortune to qualify and go further up that ladder, and you are doing it really for love. By the time you're paid out and any money coming in, you are doing it for the lifestyle and for love of the sport and people sharing that sport. So, there is a little bit of money to be made, and, that's okay. And that's fine.
We really are working on fairly tight margins for it, because like you're saying, we're not here to try to make gazillions of dollars. We'll just take just a little bit
to live
and keep everything going, But the course directors that are signing up, they get that same bulk price. so then they can sell it or even gift it to their instructors, and it kind of keeps it where it's not very much. But as I tell instructors, 3 students, that's all you need. Once you get 3, the course is completely free, and now you get all these benefits for the rest of your life. Never expires, as long as you follow the rules. So
well, we need to find out who's the UK instructor.
Yes, we do.
We need
to find out. Find out the guys in your area, and if they're not, then we need to hop on a call with them and get them.
Yeah, exactly. So how long does it take for an instructor to kind of qualify on the course?
Sure. The online portion of the course is probably going to take them, a week to kind of work on the magic tricks, watch them, kind of understand it. Once they get a feeling for it, all they have to do is 20 dives within the specialty. So basically on any dive, just bring a deck of cards with you on your safety stop, do a couple of tricks to where you're comfortable, and then they can apply through PADI on what they call method 3. As I say to all my instructors, and I'm glad you brought this up because it's an important thing to at least end on, is that keep the course simple for the students. There's a myriad of tricks to pick from, right? They get like 24 tricks they can pick from. And all they have to do is pick 6, make them easy tricks, because even the easiest trick is still going to blow away a student. Keep the course fun and positive and easy. And then if the students want to work and progress with harder tricks, they've got access to the same database, and let them do that on their own time. But we don't need to make the course hard. I literally do it as a 1-day cert, for a student. The class comes over, we about maybe a half an hour to an hour above water. We go underwater. We're underwater for about an hour doing this stuff. We take a lunch break. We go to the ocean, do 2 dives, and they're done. 1-day cert, kind of like a dry suit class.
Yeah, that's great.
It's designed to be fun and simple. And as we say, we do 90% of the work, you get 90% of the money, because most of the class is online. The students are going to learn the tricks on their own time, and the instructors are going to pick 6 tricks that they get really good at. They like the card trick, they like a rope trick. Well, teach those, because they speak to you, right? So every instructor can teach the course differently based on the tricks that they really like. So, it's designed to be fun. It's designed to be super easy cert, but knowledge that they'll gain more of over time by advanced studying.
Yeah, and refined skills like their buoyancy, and it's all a win-win. Isn't it?
All that goes right into it. And and as they're practicing it, they're going to do that Mr. Miyagi thing, right? They're going to learn skill sets and get even better at it. But on any given dive, the rule is you're going to do 1 trick for somebody, right? You've got 3 minutes by the time you organize them and do that. So you're not bringing a lot of props down, right? You're just going to bring a deck of cards clipped to yourself or a piece of rope or something. Again, keep it. We're not there to teach them to do an underwater magic show. It's just to enhance the safety stop.
And it's great that PADI got behind it as well. So it puts
the
rubber stamp on it.
I can't say enough about PADI, how well they've helped me in the development, helped us promoting this thing. When they've really helped us. They would do it for any specialty. But they've been exceptional to me.
Oh, brilliant.
Great. You've been really great guest. Thank you for your positive message.
That's what we like. That's what we like. That's what the big scuba is all about as well. Alakazam, we're back.
Bish bash
bosh. It's a magic thing. That was really good. Thank you very much to Chef for coming on, and hope you all enjoy that. Now, I'm going to challenge you. We need our first UK instructor.
That would be really
forward. Who's going to be that one? Come on.
Yeah, it just adds another dimension to you being an instructor. And it's not difficult.
No, I'll tell you what. You have a look at his YouTube channel. There's some really good videos of Chef doing some amazing pool tricks and things like that.
Yeah, and you never know, you might get Chef Anton coming to the UK and do a little tour.
No, that'd be brilliant. If I was an instructor, I'm just a lowly dive master. But if I was, I'd be up there. I'd be giving it a go. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so there's plenty of diving instructors out there.
There is. Come on.
Step up.
Let's hear from, especially you Norwich crew. We want to hear what somebody. That'd be really cool. Anyway, that's it from us. So I want to say thank you very much for listening. Thanks for downloading. Do leave us a review. It'd be really cool. Doesn't cost you anything. Only costs a few seconds of your time to leave us a review, and that just helps us get found. It helps your dive buddy find us.
Yep. So you could leave a review on iTunes.
Yeah.
Spotify, I think there's an option there as well. But even send us a little DM on Instagram or
Yeah, that'd
Facebook
be really cool.
or
It's always
Twitter.
good to let us know, where you're diving, what you're up to, any questions, and we had some in the week, which is all, always really nice.
Yes, yeah, and a few people have made comments about the rescue course because we
Yeah.
put that on social media, so that's really lovely to hear
Yeah.
from you.
Are you doing yours next weekend as well? Let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know how it goes.
Yeah, if you've got any questions for us, pop them in a DM, and
Yeah.
we'll get back to you straight away.
What was the best? Let us know what's the best bits of your rescue course. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, on the whole, everybody said that it's really good fun.
It is really good fun. You'll be busy. Put it that way. You'll be busy. There's a lot to do. We've got the flying train coming out. Right. Anyway, that's it from us. There's enough of us running on. See you next week.
Yes, so this has been episode 118.
And that was
The Big Scuba
Scuba
Podcast.
Now that does wrap up today's episode of the Big Scuba Podcast. But if you want to hear more from the podcast, make sure you hit that subscribe or follow button depending on what platform you are listening on. That way you will never miss an episode from us. But if you are listening on Apple Podcasts and did enjoy what you heard today, we would really appreciate it if you head to the show page to leave a 5-star rating and review. It really does help us. If you do, please take a screenshot of that review and send it to us on Instagram, and we'll give you a shout out to say a big thank you. If you have any questions for us or anything that has been mentioned in today's episode, be sure to reach out to us on any of our social media platforms or send us an email. The links are in the show notes. We will get back to you no matter what. If you have made it to this point in the episode, we both want to say a big thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.